evening, all. Ira Epstein with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up for this Thursday, the 20th of June, 2024. Interesting day. The market's all nervous now because you hit a new high in NVIDIA of 140.76, and the market reversed course, closed down $4.80, and everybody's going, that's it, you've got a top, you have a candlestick this, you got a that. Okay. We'll see. When you look at the stock indices, the one thing I told traders this morning was I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a sell-off right now, and this was at 9 in the morning, in the S&P and the NASDAQ, and a reversal where you see buying in the Dow, which you did, and I thought you'd get better buying than this, but you certainly didn't come apart in the IWM. So it did that for the day, and that's what I was expecting to see. Now, tomorrow's an important day. Why? Well, tomorrow, first off, triple witching Friday. So you're going to see 5 trillion, you heard me, what I just said, trillion worth of options, futures, contracts, and all go off the board and get replaced in other ways. People are moving money. The future shift began actually today. I moved to the September futures this morning. I saw the shift take place. I was waiting to see would it take place Tuesday. We were closed Wednesday, and as soon as I saw it hit, I made the move. The conference board on Friday releases their monthly leading coincident and lagging indicators. We get natural gas storage. That's important because I told clients today of mine that are in my subscriber videos to come out of the long natural gas, and they did that early this morning, and then the market fell further. I said, when you get a heat wave and you don't go up, you want to come out. That simple. Cattle on feed report tomorrow. We get some grain exports, but it's all about the triple witching, and that's going to be where everybody's focusing. You are adding back a bit of yield to TLT. Netflix was down another $6. Schwab was down 14 cents. Home Depot wasn't able to hold up. But, you know, you have some things that are holding. You know, GameStop took off, and generally that carries AMC, and it didn't this time. So I always look at that. I was having lunch yesterday with some of my good friends. I went to my buddy's plant that he's a huge meat packer in Chicago of custom ribs. If you go to fine rib joints, you get it. Fine restaurants carry it. You ever see your rib slab? They look perfect, how they come. They dress them and do all that, and then they have massive clients all over. And I got ribs, obviously, to take home for barbecues. But he's talking with his buddies there. It's a good operation. And they're talking about their investments, and they had big holdings in NVIDIA. But I mentioned to him, I said, you know, one of the things I'm going to be looking at down the road is telling clients again to buy Boeing and just forget you own it at some number. I don't know what that number is yet. And I said, it's not going away. The government talks of finding them $25 billion. In an election year, that isn't going to happen going into the election. You'll put out how many people out of work. There's a point where yes, they should get a fine, but got to be realistic as to what it is and how hard you slap them. They also announced that now they are closing in on the deal to buy that Spirit, which makes those doors and all, and they'll take control of that. And the market liked all that because they're taking control back. They got to get rid of Calhoun. They got to get new people, and top management has to go. The very top that all this bad happened with. All right, enough there. GM got a bid, Ford got a little bit of a bid today, and now traders are starting to say, as they're looking at Tesla, they're saying, okay, we understand the robo-taxi, but should we have all the money on Tesla to do it? Why aren't we buying if that's going to be with Lyft and Uber? And it's by the way, don't leave those two out. Those are your two big on-demand taxi services. They will get those robo-taxis, so that is absolutely the way it goes. They will be able to cut out the drivers. I hate to say that, but there's a lot of good people going to lose a lot of work when those things hit, but we're not there yet. This is another one of those artificial intelligence things that's coming, but we don't know when, which is the other part that I brought up the other night. Everybody's spending a fortune on CapEx. Somewhere along the line, they're going to ask where the return is. That's all I can tell you. It happens. It inevitably happens. All right. So SCHD, we are getting the bid off this area. Remember, when I started covering this with you, I said I thought this might be an area of support, and it's turning out that way. You need to clear this spike here, and the reason is you've got lower highs, lower lows. You see that? You need to take that out to negate the downtrend. So you got to get up a little bit more. Missed it today by about 8-9 cents. We'll see if it can do it. When you come into why did it stop here, I want you to look at the 100-day average. So the first stopping spot was the 18 in red, and that was right here on Tuesday. Today's Thursday, and you got up here, and that's what's fighting with the market. And if you take a look at Bollinger Bands, you held them on that test. So you put it all together, it's an interesting chart. Momentum up, not in an uptrend, and can't get in one. So all I'm pointing out is that I was expecting a bounce back here. It's done it. If it runs further, terrific. But I don't see how you can get a buy signal out of this, even if you take out the 78.27 at this point. SMCI, I thought that you'd gotten high enough. It juggernauted up today and gave it all up by the close of the day. So I still think that's your resistance point, and not worried about the last dollar and anything. Tesla, what I just told you, is a concern for me. All right? I realize they're betting big on the robo-taxis. I realize they want to be the car manufacturer of them. But is that going to be enough to really drive everything? All right? Because they're not, at the end of the day, they're not Lyft and they're not Uber taking it in. Could they buy something like that? Could they create it? I don't know. But imagine the vertical part if you had all that going, or in some manner they create a partnership where a lot of money comes into Tesla. They figure a way out where they give them special pricing on cars. They get a certain amount of the fare. There could be so many variations. And I see that. So look for support, 178.15 area. That seems to be what it wants to do. Rivian still wants to drop down. It could finish the break towards the $10 mark. It's very oversold. You know you're out of the downtrend. If the market gets back over here, I'm going to say, what is that, the 1121 area? That's a ways off from where you're at right now. It'd be almost a 10% rally because the stock is so cheap. But I keep my eye on it. It will offer something. FCX, all right. So in Freeport, you lost the bearish embedded reading. Unless it gets it back tomorrow, odds favor that price and the 18-day average are now going to make a run at each other. That's what I'm expecting to occur before prices get under this low. Excuse me there. In home builders, did you see all the types of numbers you're getting and what the mortgage numbers are and home sales? It's a disaster. There's no other way to put it. And I'm going from memory here. You were down on the starts 3.5%. Permits were down again. The market was looking for increases in both. And this is the season. So it's very hard, even if the home builders are saying to you they're making money and they're doing like Horton and so on, to want to get too involved in it when the market is telling you, hey, we're breaking interest rates, we're back down into the 6.9 level, and you're not getting a lot of business out of that. Unless today was, by the way, an outside day down, so I look at today as very important. If on Friday or Monday you don't take out this high, which I'm not expecting, it often doesn't, but if it did, then this is a bear trap and you probably go back up to the upper Bollinger Band. If it doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised if you try to sink to the 101.12 area, about $2 lower than where you're at. When we look at Lennar, you can see how the market just came on down and hit the lower Bollinger Band and trying to hold it. Now, I've covered this for a bit. I might rotate something else in place of it. I want to start through the summer bringing up other things. Maybe we'll bring in Tesla here. We'll see what we bring, which tells me I want to stop for a minute. Today's Thursday. Write to me via the YouTube where you watch this and tell me what you want me to cover. If I pick your choice, and I do this, I look at the person that gave me the choice that I choose the earliest. So when you come in, I can see where the emails to that are. And you can also write me at Ira Epstein at linnllc.com, and that has a timestamp too. If I choose yours, I give you something for free. And it's generally pretty nice, as you'll find out. It could be a subscription. It could be one of my courses. I choose after my brokers talk to you or I talk to you. You came into the 100-day average, the lower Bollinger Band, and up right here. Look for the resistance at the 4150 area, but this is not a trending market. What it is a market that got its Bollinger Bands much wider apart. Then you started running and going sideways, and they've narrowed in. So volatility's come out of the market, but I don't think it's ready to move up or down, and certainly not the way I define a trend, trending. In the industrial sector, this isn't a trend either. This is the same type of thing I just showed you. You have the lower low, you get a bounce, and the Bollinger Band's falling. That's probably the resistance zone in the market if it continues up. In the energy, you are at the resistance point. You're up now to the 100-day average in the 18. You held the 200 in the Bollinger Band, and when it hit here in this video, they're there. You can go back. I was saying that's where I expected the pros to cover shorts. I think they first covered them here, but then you got back to the 18-day average or resistance point, and not everyone uses the technique. Obviously, I do. But I think that when you're under that number, the bears are taking control of the market. Now, you did manage to squeak out a close just over it by a nickel. So you did give it upside bias. That might have been enough to get traders out of it. In GLD, I like gold again on the long side. I think you're going to see buying at the 215.71 level. The near-term target is 219.60. To negate my idea to be bullish, you'd have to take out the lows of Monday. So I'd be looking at that. Silver, I like the long side. You're back over the 18-day average. You've had the correction. You didn't quite make it to the Bollinger Band, which is fine, but you never embedded either. And now until you get back through Tuesday's low. Tuesday's going to be, this past Tuesday, the low's important. I think you're going to see traders buying. There's a small gap in the chart. Market might try to fill that, but I still think the buyers will show up. And I wouldn't be surprised if copper runs to the 18-day average, which should drop tomorrow. So I haven't figured out the calculation, but that's what I expect now that you lost the bearish embedded reading. In TLT, sort of a stall in the market. But are we embedding? We define embedding, excuse me there with my hand, both numbers over 80, and it has to do it for several sessions or more. So we had it here. It doesn't seem to want to let me get, I'm going to go back one and forward one. There we go. So today's Thursday, both numbers over 80. Day before, both numbers over 80. Day before, they're over 80, not the day before. So you finally embedded the market. So now the question is, will traders reach to buy it and be out if you lose the embedded reading? I think they will. Longer term traders then will probably step in down here and look at the 92.28, 92.17, and 91.95 and say, well, that's a better zone. Unfortunately, you wouldn't have maybe the embedded reading. That's the part that I'm doing. This is a momentum trade. You always hear about value and momentum. What is a momentum trade? Well, I think you can measure it with the slow stochastic very, very comfortably. In UUP, you're overbought. Might go to the Bollinger Band, but overbought keeps me away from a market, and you're oversold in FXE. I am bearish the euro, I am bullish the dollar, but not in areas where I see right here that it gets very appealing. So, if you want to learn more about what we're talking about here, you know, it's available if you go to iraepstein.com, free offers. You'll be seeing that when you choose your offers, at the end of the page, you'll get to a point right here where it asks you to put in your name and your sign up and everything that you do. If you have notes for us, that's where you put them in. And you can go through it. There's a lot of offers, and we'll be adding more as the year goes on to them. But I think you'll see the free courses, the charting software, access to our market center, which I think everybody should give a try to, free access to my Linn trading platform. That's what you see me use here on them. Then our trading kit, that includes chart patterns and the like, access to the QT price counts. Learn price counts. All right, think of it as Fibonacci counts and how a market gets to where it's going after. Key word here, after a trade sets up, where might it go? It doesn't predict that you're in an uptrend or downtrend. The market does that. This tells you where that may go. And the other indicators. How do you get it? IraEpstein.com, free offers, or move your cursor up to the top here. You'll see an icon and give it a click. I'm Ira. I'll catch up with everybody in the morning. Have a great evening and keep the air conditioner on. Take care.